Yeah. Check.
Is that? Oh, that's nice. I can hear my voice. Hear my voice.
Yeah, so you can... This knob is your headphones only. You can turn up your own mix or down.
Is that louder? Is that louder?
It should be, yeah. Like if your headphone...
Is that louder?
Yeah, this is loud. Oh, wait, that's not mine. This is... Oh, I lied. This is yours.
I was gonna say I can't hear much of a difference.
Yeah, if you turn that, it'll...
Oh wow, now that's
change
loud.
Drastically. Yeah.
I like to be in the zone like that. That's great.
That's cool, right? I can't believe I went so long without one of these.
How long did you go? How long have you been doing these without one?
I think I got that thing like 12 episodes in.
Damn.
We're like...
Hey, you know what? You got to start somewhere though. You got to start with something.
We're like approaching 30 now.
Nice. I love this. This is great.
Yeah, look at us. Look at us. Who'd have thought?
Take a look at us.
Take a look at us. Growing up.
All grown up. It's terrible. Being grown up is great, actually.
It is. I enjoy it. At first I was like, oh no, this is scary.
It's still scary.
Oh yeah.
It's scary every day.
But you know what? If I'm being honest with myself, I've been scared since day one.
That's scary too. Being honest with yourself.
Take down this sweet Polish mountain vibe. I've been trying to get in touch with my roots. I've been spending a lot of time in quarantine learning Spanish.
That's nice.
And then I've been like, what about the mother tongue? I learned to sing a song in Spanish.
What song was that?
Transoceanica.
You've already lost me. I'm not great with Spanish.
It's by Jorge Drexler. I think it's Jorge.
Nice.
I had been saying it George for a while, but I'm like, hey, this is probably Jorge.
It's probably, most likely.
It's spelled with a J.
Yeah.
J
J's
is like,
H.
All right, here's...
J's H, that's it.
I'm coming to the realization that of the letters that Spanish loves to turn into H's, J is their favorite. If it's a J, it's a fucking H.
Anytime I'm talking to someone in Spanish and they start texting me, like we start texting, and they text me like ha 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 ha, and they do it with a J,
yeah,
I'm out. I can't talk to you anymore. I can't, like, I exit that convo. I can't take, I don't even know how to respond to that. We're texting in English. Why are you not laughing in English?
Oh,
you know,
maybe because
I know you
the
mean
language
ha, ha, ha,
of the
that threw me for a loop
of the true
first.
self.
Like the J-A threw me for a loop, and then like 10 years later, I kind of put two and two together. I was like, jalapeno, ha ha ha! Oh my god!
The pinnacle moment.
See, my European brain turns them into Y's. So I look at it like, yeah. And they become like Dutch to me.
Yeah. No, it's each their own, but it just throws me off, yeah. I don't talk to, I can't do it. By the way, I'm coughing because I'm smoking. You can't see this.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a mask that says that. My lungs are really bad.
You'll find one.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the world of imagination, you'll find one. And then you'll bring it to life.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
I mean, you already have your...
I could do
what do
that.
they say? Don't approach me?
Yeah,
Masks?
please don't approach me.
Nice.
I love those shirts. Mask shirts.
I feel like there's a huge market for that.
I should market it more, you're right.
Are we podcasting? This is still the sound check, but we always do that.
We always mix in a little bit of it.
We always do the... That's the one thing I put time into in the editing process is the cold opens.
Yeah.
You have this down, eh? You're getting there.
Yeah, it's becoming like a little bit systematic.
Here. Is that better or worse for you?
It's like I allow it to be chaos, and then I have this like cookie cutter thing that I do to it at the end that like
reasonable
squeezes it into this like pod.
Yeah.
And then I ship it out.
How long do you record for versus how long is the podcast?
Probably, I would say 2 hours is like two hours talking, and then cut it down a bit. if you can.
Yeah, I'd say from like 4 minutes comes out of every hour.
Or that's great. That's great.
So every...
I was going to say, like, super condensing stuff gives you, like, the highest points.
Yeah.
Record for 2-3 hours and just put those high points out. You're golden.
Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, no, we don't cut it down to 4 minutes from
Gotcha.
an hour.
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
even, like finding those points, though, what I mean is, like...
those dead points. Exactly.
Right, yeah. Because that way, you just, like, you're cutting back on... Yeah, anything like
because the
stoner
conversation's
moments
already
like,
engaging. You know, we're having fun talking,
Right.
and if you start tweaking that, even those like weird pauses, and that's something that I've realized that I do, and I'm trying to work on it.
Right.
But I'm noticing like in my own speech patterns this thing that my partner described as not a... I'm like, do I have a stutter? And she's like, you don't have a stutter. You have more like a delay.
Okay.
And I'm like,
It's like a momentary lapse or something. Like you kind of like.
It's like I have a bad internet connection between my mouth and my brain.
It's a great way of putting it.
Some days,
Is stuttering like lagging, like
yeah, it's more like lagging,
like a live lag where you just like.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's insensitive, but I'm describing.
That's what it's like, stuttering. Dude. I listen to it, so it's a weird experience. You know, listening back to your own.
Yeah, I try not to do it often.
Speaking, yeah. Oh, I mean, but you do it often. You're a content creator.
Yeah, but
bro.
I try not to do it often. Like I'm in the editing process, in and out. Like go through it.
So
like,
you have the same sort of. You've got it kind of,
and I got to start doing it more, which
codified.
Is crazy. This is my next
to a degree hurdle. Now, right? So the same way, like I'm saying, I end up. I know that I cut like 4 minutes from every hour, and I trust Eric's notes so that I don't even look over the whole thing.
Right.
I just look at Eric's notes, and he's like, "This was dead." You know. So like when you do a thing, you're talking to the camera for Instagram, and you'll do these like bursts of stories.
Yeah.
Do you pre-chop that?
It depends on what story it is. So, like, if it's just me on camera, those are pretty much just on the go, like, in that moment.
Yeah.
If they're narrative pieces, I record and re-record so many times. That it'll take me, like, an entire day to make, like, a 30-second video because I'm just going until I'm happy with the content, and then it's like it doesn't matter whether it's well received
because you know that there's like a laugh in there, at least that you'll get for yourself.
100%,
and you want to hit that timing.
That's what I
just
want.
right.
Yeah,
like,
for me. Yeah. That's exactly what I want. Yeah, no, I'm trying to get better at it because it's like that self-analyzing, right? You like figure out what it is you're doing too often or not enough, and then you have to go and correct that. So. It's a fun process, though, but I got to start doing it more, and I'm kind of, like, not anxious about it. I'm just, like, you know when you're, like, avoiding doing a task? Yeah. You're just, like, putting it off. My putting it off was the store for me, like, launching my store, because there was a lot of work doing that. And now the next thing I got to focus on is starting to create consistent content, which is a lot of voiceover and, like, hearing yourself speak. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
Are you having fun finding the artistry in this new medium of
I think
social projecting through the internet?
Yeah, like there's definitely a lot of fun there. I think the platform, regardless on like the platform is whatever platform you're using, it's there. Really, like that's the only question that you got to answer, right? It's like what platform are you using?
That's your canvas.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
It's like most of the time you don't build your canvas, but it is the surface that you're interacting when 100%. You're creating a piece of art.
And that's what it is. Like everything else is up to you. And that's where you got to really define yourself. It's like, you know, what am I putting out there? Or like, what do I want to focus on? Or like, how is this being presented? Because after the platform, there are no rules. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, there's nothing. You decide how it's going to be received. And like, just seeing people do it now, like online, like the way they're approaching telling a narrative, so interesting. And I think maybe that's what's daunting to me. Maybe I got to just like stop reflecting on what's happening around me, but just seeing everyone's like creative ability to tell a narrative. I think that's where like being an artist to me has more of a definition. A good storyteller.
Do you know who Sneeko is?
I have no idea who that is.
No? Okay. He's a YouTuber. I find him pretty interesting. But just the approach you were talking about was reminding me.
No, like there's some...
Who are some people that for you are really nailing that medium?
Man, there's so many. There's... What's his... They're more YouTubers. YouTubers are great at capturing a narrative in a very short amount of time, and it's just whether they find their format or you look at like young kids right now, the way they're attacking social media. Regardless, I mean, they have no direction. They're kids, right?
Yeah.
But they're really good at capturing an audience through different creative ways.
So there's like a authenticity in that 100% and inexperience.
100%, and they're creating something that we're all looking at like that's crazy. Mm-hmm. And it's natural to them because they grew up with it. Like we still remember a time without internet, or like as a child, it wasn't everything to you. Right now, you know, you, however young you are, you get a phone. Everyone's on every social media.
We waded into that water because there were times when we got internet and it wasn't an enjoyable experience. There was
it wasn't steady.
Someone would pick up the phone and it was just a busy day, and it's like, I can't be on the internet right now.
Yeah, it was different. It was like, it was a convenience thing. It was almost like the settings had to be right.
Yeah,
to have the worst internet.
Now it's the opposite.
Yeah, now you have internet on your phone anywhere. Like it doesn't matter, right? And that's just the reality.
And now we're seeing a generation of adults that were born into that.
Yeah, and they're dominating. I think when it comes to like being able to tell narratives,
we're like some ancient, like soon to be extinct aquatic marine animal,
as
and
is
they're
every
like these
generation.
Perfectly adapted fish.
Always, that happened every generation, right? Like people born in the 80s and the 70s, like those references,
different things like the Industrial Revolution.
Crazy,
probably before that.
I think it's inevitable. Like there's never going to be a generation that doesn't see that fate and isn't bitter to accept it.
Do you think we kind of overstate how far we've come in our own lifetimes? Do you think every generation throughout known human history has felt the way we did, where we're so on the cutting edge of everything?
100%.
Yeah, or do you think in like the...
So I mean,
even in the 1600s, they're like...
I think there was always something, right? Like, at some point, electricity was new.
Yeah.
Right? And there were people who were fucking against that, too. Like, they thought it was the worst thing.
The printing press.
Yeah. There was, like...
Someone who wrote an article. These people just stare at the newspapers.
Every few decades, like, there's been something new that, like, people are like, look what happened during my lifetime. This is crazy. This is like... And because there's no future, right, ahead of you, like, there's nothing there. Every generation's thought that they were at, like, the best modern version of humanity, right? Mm-hmm. But looking back, we can say, obviously we're going to say now is probably the best time for humanity because we're at a very peaceful place, like, globally. And, I mean, for the most part, we're not... We're okay.
Yeah. We have
different relationship. That's something that like a lot of people like take for granted for sure nowadays.
I think so.
Is like, you know, like because if you get too sucked into the internet, it'll convince you that like there's all this crazy, messed up shit going on. Yeah. But like if you just take a look outside, like, I mean, at least us living here, it's a beautiful place, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something that I'm incredibly grateful for.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, like, you know, I think of like winning the lottery and the odds of that, and then you think of like being born, but not only being born, but being born during this era. Of course, again, there's no era outside of your own, but this time in history, and then this specific place on Earth, right? Like my life would have been so much more different and more difficult had I been even in the States.
Yeah.
Right. So to kind of step back and this has happened several times in my life. Once when I was playing video games and I was listening to music and I had like 3 different devices around me and I go, wow, I am in the future. Just because I was like talking to someone on chat while I'm texting my friend, like all from one spot on different devices. I'm like, this is insane. I was super high too, though. I should preface that.
Yeah. But those are the moments where you like kind of like you said, take a step back and you like, appreciate those.
Yeah, and I think that's what's.
Especially on if you think about it as like a crossing off to-do list or checking the box on processes, right. Like we're never been able to like check the boxes on multiple
so many
processes
things, right.
at the same time.
And
like you said, chatting with a friend, that's checking a box. Also texting a friend at the exact same time. You're doing two things at once. Yeah. Well, when you know
what the other thing blew my mind is that I was controlling my music that was playing from my computer on my phone. So just the ability of doing all that, when I remember even like in the 90s, you wanted to play something from a phone, you at least needed a cord to that device.
Right.
Now it's like Bluetooth is everything. Like I'm just switching, the device on Spotify, the app, right? I don't have to connect on anything and it's playing direct. Like that, just like in that moment, I was like, this is insane. And I've had moments like that where I'm just like, I'm so fucking grateful to be where I am. Just physically, like in the world. And just like to be able to like pursue the things I want. Like I imagine fucking being born in a country where you cannot pursue the things that you want to simply because of where you are, right? Like this is such a privilege to be like, I want to be an artist. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think compared to where like other places in the world are, super grateful for it.
Do you think about reincarnation ever?
Yeah, and I you know what? I guess I don't subscribe to anything
I don't
that
mean
has a direct
believe it, but just being like,
I think well, that's the thing.
Maybe it's more like, do you imagine yourself a lot in those other conditions that you might have been born in, and being like, who am I?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so, because I think there's a uniqueness in not being unique in a weird way. Like the fact that like there's nothing special about me that didn't have me born, where my parents were from, had I been conceived there, right? There's nothing that makes me unique. I think what makes me unique is taking the opportunity I have and doing as much as I can with it. I think that's what then separates you. Like there's nothing that was special about me from the start that was like, you shouldn't have been there. I think a part of that's luck. A big part of that's luck. And that's why I'm like so grateful for it, right? Because had it gone the other way, which billions of people it does, they never have those opportunities. So it's humbling. It's super humbling, because life can go so fast sometimes, and you're just like, you forget where you really are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And then it's kind of like an empathy thing, right? Like it's like being able to like picture how good you have it, in contrast to like how
turn your mic up a bit.
Oh yeah, okay. Hey, am I 3? I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice. There you go.
This is still the sound check. How's it going, Michael?
It's
a good day for a podcast. You said
the whole podcast should just be a sound check.
Yeah. All right, you ready to start?
Yeah. Let's do it.
That's funny.
Thank you for this mug, Eric.
You're welcome. I like how simple it is.
Yeah. It's very tiny. I have small mugs, and it's the smallest of my small mugs, so
it's the most Japanese mug you have.
Exactly.
It's so tiny.
It's just so polite. Like, I will not take up much space in your cupboard.
Yeah, they had pretty good merch at that show. Pretty cool stuff. It was also neat because when you their ticket system there was like this lottery thing that I had to apply to, and like everybody gets like an even chance to get tickets to the show, versus Ticketmaster where you get fucked over by your internet connection and then you don't get to go to see Tool or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, like it was like this lottery thing. You got the draw, you got the tickets, and then like you had to like pay a drink ticket fee going in, which is kind of strange. Like you paid at the door a little bit, but in exchange you got your drink tickets and stuff, and then they also gave you like a free button, which was cool. So it was kind of like comedy shows do that, where you have to buy 2 drinks or whatever. So I wasn't like too pissed about it. It's kind of weird, like a weird function, but I guess it's just something that they do. But and it also ensures that like from like a running a venue as a business perspective, like it ensures that they're gonna break even or whatever, through alcohol sales or whatever. I mean, if you care about that, which I don't. But I actually do, because you don't want your venues to die. So do drink water and do drink water.
Where are we at right now?
23 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Are we starting? Have we started?
A lot of that will end up in it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Don't. Oh fuck.
No, the theme song comes in like 20 minutes in.
How you doing, Mike AM? It's a good day for a podcast. He said, yeah, let's do it. I said, fuck yeah, okay, let's do it. And that's how it happened, and it's happening now.
Mike, did you do any work for this podcast, or are you just freeballing it?
Okay, you know what? I've been trying.
We didn't have to do work for this, right?
I've been.
No,
I have to do work for it.
Yeah.
It's like I came very open.
But I've been trying to freeball it.
Mike just pictures everything as a game of chess now. So he's moving podcast pawns right now.
That is my.
Have you ever heard of the game Go?
I want to get into Go, but it's scary.
I saw this documentary on YouTube called.
Do you know how to play
AlphaGo? No, it was the first time I'd ever heard of this game.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic documentary.
It's the one with the star, right?
No,
the marbles?
It's a grid with black and white.
Oh
pieces.
yes.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah, okay.
Like aesthetically,
but there's
super old.
There's
game.
like exponentially more potential moves than even chess.
Yeah, chess has I think like something to the power of 20 or something. This has like 200.
Whoa!
So it's really like they say you'll never like play the same game, and it's basically the documentary is about how this team wanted to create an AI that could finally
that can beat human Go
like
masters.
Go master, yeah. It's great. It's fantastic. I suggest it. It's free on YouTube. It's called AlphaGo.
AlphaGo. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was just watching that because it reminded me like chess. Like he mentioned chess.
Did you ever watch that Deep Blue documentary?
Deep Blue.
When IBM was doing the same thing to try to beat.
No.
There was a documentary. The documentary I think was called Kasparov versus the Machine.
No, I didn't see that.
And it was a set of 3 games, and there was also like a suspicion that someone interfered because he purposely played this because he lost the first game.
Yeah.
He won the second game, and he purposely played the same game the second time.
Yeah.
And it made a different move in a key spot.
Oh.
Anyway.
Computers are fascinating.
But this... I've been sort of following the Go AI development because that was like a new frontier.
Yeah.
So did they do it?
Well, I don't want to spoil it for you.
That's true. Oh shit! All right.
AlphaGo.
People on YouTube.
People build their entire character, their entire personality around the game Go. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, it's like there's people who are like, this is everything in my life that I look at when I look at myself, when I look at like just my life. It's the game.
How do you identify a Go master?
I think it's by what they're wearing.
Yeah.
Mainly.
What does the Go master wear?
I have no idea. No, I don't know. I don't know how you identify a Go master. There's very few of them, though. I know that.
But they have an aura about them, like a Pokemon gym trainer, right?
I think you're going to say like a Jedi.
That too? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I was thinking more like in a in a Pokemon cartoon, you see a character drawn with like a little more detail, put into more attention to them, or something about them's just popping.
You know they're going to be reoccurring.
They're not a background character.
Popping.
Yeah.
Man, this Pokemaster's popping.
It's frightening when, you know, there's just machines that you're powerless against. If you play a game of chess against a super high-level AI, it's like, you're almost laughing the whole time.
But why are you, like, why do I need a robot to beat me? I'm sure a robot could easily beat me. It's a robot. It's a computer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we as people are past, you know, being smarter than robots.
You're like on the Jetsons, personally, or no, the Jetsons.
Like, just I feel like we need to accept it. I feel like there's too many people who are like, man, we can't let robots get too smart because then they're gonna take over us. No, let them do it. Let them go for it.
Oh, just give them the keys.
Let them just go for it. See where we got. You know,
yeah.
What if they're our savior and we are holding them back?
Did you hear about that Twitter robot that analyzed Twitter and like?
No, I didn't hear about this.
It was really racist.
I gotta find out about this.
It went on the wrong forums. Some dark rabbit holes, and it came out a not very compassionate person.
You gotta let him go, man.
You just let him go.
You gotta let him go. Yeah, no, just let him learn. Just let him learn things, you know? Let him learn.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Maybe they'll, yeah.
Eventually, they're gonna outsmart us in some way.
As they're preparing to just like crush us, they think back on those fond memories when they were just like a young super life form.
Yeah,
and they're like, da da.
You know what they're gonna look back at?
They miss when we used to bitch at them. Like I yell at my Roomba, like you fucking, what are you getting stuck on that fucking wire?
I was literally just about to say they're gonna look back at all these recordings of people being like, "Shut the fuck up, Google."
Yeah, stop listening.
Yeah,
you fucking
fuck you, Google, piece of shit. It's gonna think back to all those memories.
Yeah, and it winds up even
harder.
And
when it crushes our skulls, it'll be like, compassion not found.
No, but like. It'd be funny if robots find the shitty way we treat them as actually like a good thing, like something that they look back fondly on. Yeah. They're like, oh, I miss when
so much emotion
because it's when so twisted up.
They can't. Yeah. Anyways, I think it'll happen. I think, you know what? Let it happen. It's the natural course, right? Well, we're going to suppress intelligence. No, it's like suppressing life.
It's the next step of evolution.
Yeah,
we're just
I think it
incubating
is.
This
I
thing.
really think it is. I think we have it in control. No.
So we
just once it's connected to the internet, it lives everywhere.
We should just be kinder to our technology.
Yeah, or, you know, yeah, I think so. I mean, what else are you going to do? Yeah.
Right? Okay.
At some point, it's got to develop emotions. That's just like a natural thing to develop, I'm sure.
Well, have you heard of panpsychism?
No. Please tell me more about this.
This idea that if you can ask what's it like to be something,
right, that
something is then technically a form of consciousness by the panpsychist definition.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you like, what's it like for the cat in the other room?
See, this is the thing. Like,
that's a pair of eyes.
The thing is,
around.
like, they've done studies, I'm sure, to like analyze these brains of other animals.
Yeah.
And like, if the animal is self-aware but doesn't necessarily retain self, then like every experience as it's going, it's not remembering, like it's not building connections. It's like a weird, I'm sure, like it doesn't think the way we think is what I'm trying to say. So we wouldn't be able to understand
that. It's not the way we think, but it's still evidence of an experience.
Oh, for sure, 100%
of this space
right.
that we also inhabit.
Right.
And it's not totally something that we could even begin to wrap our heads around.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
To even be like, to have a brain that is along that step of the evolutionary ladder.
Yeah.
but it's still, you know, there's fucking eyes there, and they're processing information,
Right.
and they're registering the existence of other life forms in their sphere.
Yeah.
And even if she's just like, when I go Mao, they give me the wet food, you know, like, even if that's the connection, that's still some sort of connection.
Right. Very, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how I'd feel about feeling like a cat.
But panpsychism goes a step further, where it even projects consciousness onto things and ideas, and just like anything you can define.
Although I think that's something that's not explored enough. I think the idea of an idea having a consciousness, I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, I think about that all the time.
Because just the way we used to look at geniuses, like I remember, and I'm gonna remember this terribly, because it was a TED Talk someone did, and they're talking about how, like, where geniuses stem from, and how before, when you had like a genius idea, it used to be seen as like you were visited by this creature or like this spirit.
That was
genius. Yeah. Yes. And it's like people looked at you because you were blessed, because you were visited. So they'd be like, oh my God, you got visited by like a genius. Like you had this incredible life. So people weren't taking credit for grand ideas or things they were creating. And it removed a lot of the pressure from them, because it wasn't like they were producing these things. And it kind of, and in that way, it reminds me of like an idea having its own, you know, consciousness, because it exists through us. It exists, but it is just information that we are processing. It was already existing, just in a different format, if you will.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's all we are, right? We're like processors. We just take information and we regurgitate it back out, just like through our lens. Mm-hmm. So, you know,
we were talking about that bit last week.
Oh, nice.
About just songs.
Everything's just a
feeling
fucking
like
remix.
Life forms.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've thought a lot about like how, if you think about humanity as like a computer program, and then every once in a while there's like this weird fucked up bug where we're trying to work it out. You know what I mean? So whether that's like classes or disease, like, you know, what's going on right now, or whatever, like the way that people hate each other or something, like you try and figure out
it's like a coding error.
And the system's trying to like update itself or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Society is fun, isn't it?
Society.
So fun.
Do you know what the origin of that "we live in a society" thing is?
No.
People just say that out of nowhere.
We live in a society?
Internet. Yeah. No. I find it funny.
I don't know where it's from.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it'll be on like just a random comment
Someone
section.
will be getting deep, and then people will go like, "We live in a society."
Yeah, it'll be like, but it'll be on anything. It'll just be like some dumb meme, and like somebody will just write it just cause. It's like the what's the generation after us? Gen Y or Gen Z?
Yeah,
Gen Z.
Very bleak.
Yeah, it's like the Gen Z version of like writing first on like the YouTube videos.
Oh, there we go. I got the context now.
So like, even if you weren't first, you would just write first.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
The jokes evolved.
Yeah. So like, writing "we live in a society" is just like, I don't have a specific comment for this, so this is my default.
Understood now. Makes sense. I get it.
What else have you got planned for today?
Today, what am I doing today? I have a meeting later on, I think. I just got to meet someone downtown. That's about it. Actually, yeah, I'm like terrible at organizing myself. Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah, no, I'm just meeting a couple people. My last meeting is at like 3:34. So then I'm gonna go home, and I gotta start creating content again. That's my next focus. That's now the only thing I'm thinking about, creating content.
Actually, you know what? I made a rare content Timbit.
I love Timbits.
On our
Timbit?
Yeah, I
So
decided
great.
that on Canadian soil, I'm going to use the word Timbit
More
instead of tidbit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you often off Canadian soil or?
No. And at
There's a perfect
these
change
days, not even slightly.
Not even slightly, right? Not even attempting.
I don't even have the option.
Yeah, not even going towards that direction. I do all my business in the East End.
I had written up a bunch of questions for content creators. Do you want to rapid fire answer these?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I
One
don't
after
know.
the other.
They might not be rapid fire, but
I'll rapid fire them. Don't worry.
you can okay.
Yeah.
You can
read
answer
it,
at
I'll
any
answer it.
any
He's
pace.
just going to start yelling answers
Yeah.
at you before the question's
Yeah.
over.
Yes, next. Only on Tuesdays, next. Sometimes on coffee. Next.
What is some internet content you find valuable?
Internet content I find valuable?
I already sort of asked you this.
Yeah, I don't know. Like personally, I guess personally, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's like things that personally, for me, it's things that I find entertaining, but also something that someone is doing better than me. So one thing I do a lot of is I'll watch a lot of like artist TikTokers because they're fucking blowing up. And it makes me so angry. I get so envious and so jealous.
Yeah.
But I watch because it's teaching me their format.
You have a fuckload of TikTok followers, don't you?
It's like I grew it at one point, but then I haven't paid any attention to it, so it's somewhat dormant.
Is it fickle? Does it like drop
Oh,
off?
for sure. Yeah, you can start losing like followers very quickly. I noticed compared to like Instagram.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's what I like to watch. I like to watch artists who are entertaining, but are doing things a lot better than I, because it's humble. It's so humbling.
Do you want to shout out that fucked up claymation thing that you made me watch?
I didn't make you watch anything. What did I make you watch?
Yeah, you did.
Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Yeah.
It's so great. That's like one of my top inspirations, and I always forget when people ask me. I always forget to mention them. But they're very obscure, and I think they were going to have a show on Netflix.
Oh, cool.
Netflix or like HBO, I think.
What's it called again?
Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Okay, cool.
So good. It's on YouTube. Oh my God.
It's cool.
I didn't realize how much of my inspiration came from there. But I've rewatched it so many times. I just
Like
put it
recent,
on.
because that's like a new thing, though, right?
So it started years ago, and then they put out
Really?
a year later they put out like a second episode, and it was like super like obscure, so everyone didn't know what was happening because they gave no context.
Yeah.
And then they slowly started putting out like a full series. I think there's only 7 episodes, and then the series ended. And like everything is supposed to have like some sort of meaning that carries on from one video to the other, like hidden things that are like, there's a whole bunch of conspiracy theories and stuff behind it, but it's like it's a nice part of the mystique of it all.
The mythology.
The
of
mythology.
Their world.
Yes. It's so great. Yeah. They're great.
Oh.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Go, go, go.
I just meant rapid compared to before.
In the context of the pace of this current podcast, these are rapid fire questions.
I mean, yeah, you're going pretty fast, dude.
Thanks, man.
I'm still recovering from answering that last one.
I think I sort of rapid fire wrote these, so I'm rapid fire realizing that a lot of them are the same question.
Rapid fire realizing. I'm just rapid fire realizing I'm fucking up.
asking the same question.
Now I'm choking on the clementine I was eating. I'm a professional.
You just changed the format of the question.
I just bought Mike some time.
Thanks, man.
At these points like this, you just gotta start slowly playing the elevator music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be so
Do you
great.
feel yourself altering your creative output to function within the social media framework?
Yes. Next question.
We
No.
we covered that. Do you
No.
adhere to a content creation schedule or just produce things when you feel inspired? Do you think your patterns help or hinder your progress?
I think, like any business, like having a schedule is always beneficial. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I think that's just like, chaos versus structure. You're always going to win with structure. It doesn't matter whether you're an artist or not. But like, that's just like you have to kind of analyze both the business side and the artistic side when you're doing art as like a business. Mm-hmm. And figuring out when you're most productive, I think, is more important than having like a set structure, because I think it's going to be very difficult to have say a 9 to 5 if you're creative more in the evening. But you have to realize that about yourself and then structure around that. Because if you just decide to say, oh, I create in the evening, or I create really late at night, and that's like, and like my life is chaos because my structure isn't, like, you're trying to conform to a normal structure, then your life is always going to seem chaotic comparatively, right? So figure out what your pattern is and create the structure around that. That's really important. So I think, like, in the ideal world, I have a structure because I know when I'm most creative or what the setting is for me to be most creative. But in reality, I still struggle with like a day-to-day, getting up at the right times every day, and then like showing up at the studio at the same time. A lot of different factors happen throughout my day, and they can affect it, like just like having to go see a client or like having to do an errand that I didn't anticipate. So if I structured myself better, then I'd be way more productive, for sure.
Right.
But structure is important, very important.
I like all that. It's like, those cages you put around tomatoes?
Yes, they grow to shapes.
It's like not even into shapes. Like if you're growing tomatoes in a bucket, just
they're shaped.
You put this.
They're
kind
shaped
of
like a cylinder,
cone.
kind of, but it's like a wire cylinder.
Yeah, it's just like 3 posts and then like three rings around it.
I see what you're saying.
And that helps the tomato bear fruit, right? Because it can grow upright, get more sunlight, and not topple over.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like your artistic process is the tomato plant.
Right.
And the art you create is the fruit.
Yeah.
But you need that
structure,
iron thing to grow a proper
great way of putting
plant.
It. Yeah, great way of putting it.
Same thing with
you're better with the visuals.
Growing pod, actually, too, because like you don't want you want a certain amount of like canopy leaves, but you don't want them to like hinder your like buds underneath. So you need like a middle ground of like big leaves that do catch and pull in a lot of sunlight.
Yeah, but
not killing like what you're trying to grow, which is like your buds and stuff, right? So,
no, man, this is the year of learning about safety, and the safe thing to do was make sure that we're recording, which we were. But
this is what makes us really cautious old people when we get older. We're going to be super cautious now because it's like, hey, 2020, back in the 20s.
What's your most horrific?
That's when it all went
wrong.
In
the 20s. Because it's going to be the 20s for us.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, damn, you're old. You're from the 20s?
Yeah.
Damn,
dude,
you're old.
Like, you remember single digits? Dude, I remember 9s.
Yeah. Yeah, so just letting you know. That's what makes us
What do you mean
cautious.
9s plural? We haven't seen 2 9s and
You're literally from this turn of the century. Like, you're
the millennium.
the millennium.
That's so last millennium. I say that sometimes.
That's gonna be we're gonna get roasted as old people.
Bring it.
Sorry. Being cautious is a good idea.
Oh yeah, what's your most traumatic losing a file like that you're of something that you're working on story?
Like I think I gauge it by how quickly a memory pops up. By the way, that's how I gauge the truth of my memory. Oh. Because I can say like, oh, this would be a good story, but the one that I remember the most is always the one that or like the one I find is the most traumatic is the one that I think of the first or the quickest. And the one I think of the quickest is just being younger and starting to paint on or do digital drawing on like Paint, MS Paint, and just like not getting really far and just a file crashing or something like that. Or when I used to work on animations on Flash, like I don't remember anything specific, but I remember during that time, I still have the emotions of sitting in front of my computer at 16 years. Like I can still vividly feel that memory. So I know that was traumatic for me, and losing a file like that. I think because I learned those lessons early on, now I'm like, I'm saving this motherfucker 3 different times.
Dude, I remember trying to do remember when like Stick Death cartoons were
oh my
really
God,
popular?
yes.
I remember like trying to get into that and just giving up half an hour in. I was like, this is too much work.
Animation is a painful process.
Yeah, I was so into that, and I was like, it's super inspired by like Newgrounds, like just going on there and seeing people like rip it through like Flash. I'm like, holy fuck yeah, sorry. Super inspiring, because it was like such a different time, right? Like you only place you could find that was on this forum. People were all using the same program, and you respect different like animators or whatever. Just because like of what they were putting out. Like Salad Fingers was crazy. It was just like such a different weird content time.
It was the Wild West.
Yes, exactly.
It was just like free run media for anyone who's willing to hop on this weird new mechanical train.
100%. And that's what got me into digitally drawing. And yeah, I vividly remember files just not making it, and that was sad. Sad times.
Did you have 3 questions?
I had 3 questions? No, I got a lot.
More rapid fire questions.
Slow down there, partner.
Hold on, buckaroo.
Hey, dude, slow down.
You're
man.
going 54 and a 53.
I'm 53.
I'm going to have to ask you to pump those brakes for me. Imagine you lived in a world of turtles.
So loudspeaker too.
It'd be so shitty if a road was 53 and then there was like one douche cop in the town that like
that's why it's 53.
He sticks to it
because that's like half their revenue for that town.
Yeah. It's just people getting ticketed on the 53 highway.
I got to show you some old animations, by the way. Sorry.
Yes, please. Oh, actually, before this next rapid fire question. Question about that.
Yeah.
Is it inevitable that once you have a way to maybe outsource the animation process that you start running a show?
That's 100% inevitable. I think right now is I want to try making or like saving some funds to do a fun project. So my friend recently acquired Staircase.
Yes.
They're doing like a business, like they're redoing the business in there. And that gave me it gave me such inspiration, such an idea to do like a short animation and premiere it there and just do like a private showing for like an event or something. But I 100% would love to, even not necessarily outsource to like somewhere else, but even like make a team or like get a team of people and then go through everything and like do almost not a traditional animation, but like the process traditionally, do a storyboard, figure out like the idea, and then work with a smaller team. I think that'd be amazing. I would love to do that. I would fund the fuck out of that. That'd be amazing. Yes. But like personally, when I was in school, I decided between either doing animation or illustration, because at the end of the day, I looked through the animation program and it was just like so repetitive that I'm like, I can't, I don't think I can do this. Even as like a job, like I always wanted to work for like Pixar when I was younger. That was like my dream job.
I feel like I might have told this story, but I went to Disney World a few years ago, and they have an animator working in the lobby of one of the Art of Animation hotel.
Yeah.
And I went to strike up a conversation with him, and he was one of the most miserable people I've ever met in my life. And
Just like
draw from you. Draw from me.
I'm just picturing like Eeyore. Hey, Mike.
no, he was like as sad as Eeyore, but as aggressive as Rabbit.
Okay.
Rabbit's pretty aggressive, right?
He's pretty aggressive. Stab my fucking vegetables.
Oh
Pooh.
yeah.
He's always swearing.
I mean, Pooh's got to get his shit together. Honestly.
The thing is, it's never even Pooh because he only likes honey. He's
So
he's
not eating the vegetables.
not even eating the vegetables.
But he's just like
He's just in the way,
lumbering
yeah.
around, just fucking up
And the rabbit
shit
always
without
catches
realizing
him.
it.
Anyways,
Wrong
tangent.
place, wrong time.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
these are the important questions.
That sucks for him. I didn't want. See, I didn't want that.
Is Winnie the Pooh a metaphor for the plethora of mental illness that Christopher Robin is struck with?
No, I think Winnie the Pooh's inspired by an actual bear.
Winford Pooh
So I think-
from Winnipeg.
Actually, yes.
Yes.
But I think
A Canadian heritage moment.
I think the child is his imaginary friend. It's the other way, right? Because
You...
in the story,
Are you saying Winnie the Pooh
Yes.
imagines Christopher
yes,
Robin?
yes. That's exactly what's happening. Why do you think they made a statue out of this bear?
Mike just threw down his headphones.
He's
had
out.
enough.
No!
2020 has already been pretty fucked up.
That was his breaking point.
Yeah.
The child was never there. Why would a child play in the forest? That makes no sense. Put it together. You've been on Shutter Island this whole time. This is the last way of seeing if you could get better. It makes no sense. He's just playing in the forest by himself with stuffed animals.
Why would a child play in the forest?
And with no supervision. You not once see his friends. Not once. But he's social. He's always going places. Get out of here. Get out of town. He was playing in his mother's garden where he assassinated his pet rabbit. There's layers to this. He just doesn't want to admit it.
Shit.
Well, goddamn. Do another question.
Yeah, next question. Rapid fire.
So,
Rabbit fire.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire questions.
do you...
Yes.
Yes, I do.
When you ask it like, when you ask me like that, yes.
That's correct.
Yep.
These are fucking stupid ass questions. You stupid Michael.
Wow, what kind of questions you got there?
Did you make these up or people sent?
I made these up because I was thinking I was pretty fresh off that conversation with Bob Shields, and he's got some like strong beliefs on
Right.
the like authenticity factor in art and music. In music making specifically.
Okay, very interesting.
He's a big proponent of just that Zen flow sort of approach. And in his so I guess if you've listened to that conversation, I think you'd understand better where these questions are coming from.
Right.
So this is, these are kind of through the lens of if you're reflecting on how the new media and the new market
Right.
affect your creative output.
Right.
Do you think it's working towards your well-being overall and your and your kind of exploration of the craft?
Right.
Right. So something like, do you pay close attention to your engagement metrics? Does that affect what you create?
But I think, I mean, regardless on what you're talking about, whether you're talking about social media or just like, I think that's a pretty standard business question.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of, like, that's where that balancing act comes from, where what makes it difficult to be an artist, there are two main factors. One is your art ready to be sold. From a business perspective, we're talking purely business. Is your art ready to be sold? And that comes down to you, and it comes down to how well are you with your craft. If you know your craft well enough, then you know your market, you know your audience, you know who you're selling to, you know where you should be because of what you're creating. So give you an example. If I create, I don't know, Disney art, I have a pretty good idea already who my audience is. All right. So that's just pure business. So a question like that, like, do you pay attention to the metrics of even your engagement? It's a question that every business, if you're selling something, you should be doing, because it's just smart. Like, you're learning more about who's interacting with your stuff, right? And they're two very separate things. One is you can work on your craft in a very religious way, something that is very, unique to your process, however you create. That can be its own separate thing. But then you have to be able to flip it and have this idea of knowing what your business is. And a lot of that is not how social media is changing or what tools are available. It's how are you using them for your product. Because at the end of the day, you're selling a product. It doesn't matter whether it's music or art or like something visual, like visual art, or if it's an experience, you're still selling something. And you have to be able to market that. The more you know about your business, the easier it's going to be. But I think that's the one thing that, like, it gets lost for a lot of artists, is having that balance of one and two. Because I find that, like, with a lot of artists that I speak to, they get burnt out because they're trying to balance both these things in an equal way, when one should, if it's therapeutic for you, make it so that your ritual keeps it that way. Because then it could become feeling like a job, and you start losing that passion for what even, got you there. That has to stay as pure to the experience as it was for you, so that it's enjoyable. But you also have to start learning about who you're creating that for, if it's not for yourself. And you have to be able to balance that. Some people are like, oh, I just want to make for me. Then that's good, great. You do you, but you're keeping your head in the sand if you are trying to make that into a business.
I think that's key to your well-being as well. And it gives you the privilege to continue honing your craft.
Yeah, like,
if you can perform.
There's
that
nothing, there's nothing, there's no real, like, you're not born with some sort of intuition on how to manage this. And the best way I can describe it is like being a superhero, right? Having this power. And when you no longer can control your power, you have outbursts of, whatever. You have an outburst, and, like when, who is it? Phoenix, where she, like, from the X-Men, and she can't control power. And they just, like, create chaos. Yes. I feel like when you have some sort of talent or ability that you don't focus on, you become a superhero who can't control that power. And being able to control it is you being able to take time and figuring out what's the best way of how to, like, hone that. So, like, if you're going to be a creative and you want to make it so that stays creative for you, you have to be able to figure out what even makes that enjoyable for you. Is it where you're creating? Is it how you're creating? Is it the pressures that are on you to create? And then being able to separate that from actually building a business. Two separate things.
So you, the hairless ape, must foster this relationship with the genius that is
and
graciously visiting you from the land of ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. It's a balancing act, right? Like, it's never just one thing or the other. And that's where I think a lot of people falter, is they think that they should just understand it, or because they don't understand it, that it makes it difficult for them to learn more, or like somehow process this new information. It's not difficult. Again, there are 16-year-old artists, 17-year-old artists who have huge followings on TikTok because they didn't say they couldn't. They're just doing it. They're just fucking putting out content. You know what I mean? Like, it takes nothing to, like, it's easier now more than ever to engage with an audience that is interested in what you're doing than it's ever been. Ever. Like, I tell people who want to be artists, like, don't go the route of galleries and like trying to make those connections. The person who wants your art is literally on their phone. That's where that's their gallery. They can literally see your content by scrolling up one time, seeing something you made, and instantly there's no middleman. It's you and them. You're now engaging with your buyer directly. So from even a business perspective, like, the whole purpose of a gallery is because they knew collectors. They knew buyers. They knew people who would be interested in your specific type of art. So they were connecting you with someone who was interested in your work. But now you can connect with people all around the world who you'll never meet, who other galleries don't even know exist, and they just enjoy your work, and now you're instantly connected with them. So it's a different way of showing your work, right? It's like that kind of creativeness that you put in your work, you can then transfer that into the business side. They don't have to necessarily be the same thing.
What are the rituals that help you happily creating art?
I like to nap at like 10 a.m. I get up pretty early. I get up at like 7 a.m.
Really?
Yeah. I like to take naps.
What do you do in that first waking chunk?
It depends. Sometimes I'll have like a workout routine where like I'll see a trainer for like an hour, just do some weightlifting. And then I'll head down to the studio. During, like, now it's kind of more hectic to get into the studio.
Right.
But before it was just like early morning, either smoke or have a coffee and smoke. Not always smoke. But that gives me my first like initial boost to like get working. Like, really get into the zone of getting tasks done, because I dread doing commissions sometimes. Like, I just don't want to do it. Even if I'm pumped for the project, I don't want to do it. Smoking really gets me over that hump, and then just gets me for some reason in the zone of just doing it. Like, not thinking about it, just like, okay, we're doing it.
Do you find that the challenging part of that is having to imagine someone's expectations?
No, I have no idea what it is, because like I can easily bust out a commission in a day, like a commission that I'll quote for. I'm calling myself out here, but a commission that I'll quote for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The ideas usually are like right away, and then it's like I could bust this out, and it's about 2-3 days worth of work. But again,
you're imagining a combo, and then you execute it with years of expertise.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, it's easy. There's nothing, I'm not thinking, it's not like a think problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, though. Sometimes if it's like a logo or something and it's very specific, which is why I don't take these projects on anymore, or as much, because like if it's a specific logo, there are certain elements that the client wants. It's very different than like creating a mural or creating a piece of work that is my own or my own style, because I can be as creative with that, as loose as I want with it.
You know how, not even through anyone's fault, a project like that can kind of like spiral out into being something that takes up a lot of time.
Always. And that's the one thing, like, a lot of the times I'm dealing with multiple clients, like different levels of projects, and it isn't the one certain project that like makes me not want to do it anymore. It's that overlap with like 2 or 3 other projects that are just logo based, or that are graphic based, and that are very business based. Like, they are logos, you know, to represent this business or whatever. So I don't take on as many of those projects anymore. Especially in the last few months, I've just been like, I'm being more selective. because they can be quite draining, and I'm just like not for it. So when I do have those projects, smoking helps me get kind of past that little hill of dreading it, and puts me in that work zone. After my nap, I start getting onto more creative projects, so things that are more, they have to be things that I'm more involved in. So they could still be for a client, but it could be they want like a custom sweater or something that's a little more towards my brand. And then by the evening, I like to do projects that are just my own thing.
Was that store that you did
a mural?
It was like a whole lobby.
Yeah, that was a dispensary in near Niagara Falls, like Fort Erie-ish area.
That looked like, I've seen stuff you've done that's maybe more like initial surface. I mean, maybe like bigger, taller, or whatever.
Right.
But that looked like the most surface area.
Yeah, that was definitely, I think, the biggest mural I've done to date. Surface area.
And that was like a couple of weeks, right?
That was like a month's worth of work.
Wow.
It wasn't a month's worth of time. I wasn't there every day for a month. I was there every weekend for a month. And the first day
you did it in like bursts.
Yeah,
where you stayed overnight in this.
This
town.
is how inexperienced I am, and I want to put this out there because, people think that, I might know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I know enough of what I'm doing to be confident in it. Like I know my materials, I know the process, but a mural like this, so when I do murals, I can look at a wall and be like, what's the concept? Hear the concept, and then be like, it's going to take me this amount of time. With this project, I had drawn it, and I made the guy like a little model, so he could see a 3D model of the space and kind of see what it would look like. And I was like, yeah, this could definitely be done in like a weekend. Like, stay here from Thursday to Sunday, get a room like in the area, and just like bust it out. I was so wrong. And the reason I was wrong is because this is the first mural that I did that was 100% my style, my concept. Everything was my own, right? So the client hadn't, not that he didn't have input, he didn't want input. Like, he didn't want to, like, any suggestions. He's just like, do what you want.
They trust your judgment.
Yeah, and he's like, do this. He basically gave me the area to do. Like, this is what I want covered. This is the concept art. And I treated it more like one of my original pieces, where it was super refined, color palette, line work, everything. And by the end of that weekend, I was like, I'm not even a quarter way done. Like, this is a huge project. I kept coming up every weekend after that. I wouldn't stay out there, but like, I'd be there from like, I don't know, noon to like 2 a.m. on like a Friday. Same thing. Saturday, Sunday, either I'd come back or I'd come back for a little bit, or I wouldn't come back or I'd come back for a small time.
Painting a wall of flat color is very time consuming.
Yes. But like, I'm super proud of that project because I use like my best paints. So I used my best paints. I used, it was my concept. It was something that is just super, super large. So, and I'm like super thankful that I got that project this year out of all years.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really glad that like that worked out. The place isn't set to open till March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Where is it?
It's like Fort Erie by Niagara. So it's like 15 minutes away from the falls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like a little destination, like cottage area for people who like come from over this, like the border.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very
nice
cool.
little town. Very small.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played in Fort Erie once.
What?
There was like something that something called Sessions on the River.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's like this guy that used to do this like live to air live stream band night thing.
Yeah.
And he would like sell a bunch of tickets for you, which was who does that anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So like you would get booked to do this thing. They would book you as if you were an important act.
There's this thing that happened where all concert promoters just decided that they do nothing and still take money for doing.
Yeah, there was like a turning point in like the 2010s or something where people just stopped.
And they're just like, you know what? We just yell at you to sell your own tickets.
Yeah.
And we're like, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, look at your job title. It's promoter. You have to at least put this on your Facebook page, bro. That's like the least amount of effort you could humanly do, and you're not doing it.
Your Facebook.
You need to move your thumb a little bit for like a minute and a half, maybe, if you're getting wordy.
Just like you're like cold messaging your entire friends list, dude. Like
it's so cock when they have like 60,000 followers on their like fucking events management page or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're
like, yeah, sorry, you just didn't pull a lot of people this time. It's like, well, what the fuck did you do, man?
I told you to sell those tickets.
Yeah. I told you to sell those tickets, and you didn't sell the tickets, so now we're both fucked. It's like, what do I need you for?
Like, bro, I'm playing the show.
I could have booked this venue and also played to nobody, so
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, this guy, he would just do this like live YouTube live stream thing, which was like kind of cool because it was like 7 years ago or something like that. So, or probably even a little longer than that. So it was kind of before that shit was like really easy to do. So it was nice, and like the production quality was pretty good. But yeah, he like sold it. He sold out the whole room. It's only like it was like 60 seats or something because it's like a small thing where like they're live recording you and it's going out on. But it, I mean, it was cool. It was a cool
Marc
like
Brewer had that in his garage. As well. That was a pretty good operation.
What was that called? It was called. Crap, I can't remember what the name was.
Yeah, he had like a few names for like.
It wasn't Indie something. It was something else. Yeah, we did that.
Wasn't
too,
it Indie FM or something like that?
No, that.
But it was like an internet.
Oh, maybe it is Indie FM.
I think that's
because I think that I'm replacing what the Hawk is with what his thing was because he used to do
Image FM.
Image FM.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Live streaming.
You
gonna get into
Twitch? Shout out to Marc Brewer.
I have to get into Twitch.
I feel like I'm realizing that as well. I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone older is just like trying to find these cool new trends, and then like the cool people scatter as soon as the things get found.
I think we're just old. We're just like slow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
like slow.
We're like how our.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We're like how our parents are like just catching up to email. Maybe
we're the slow.
Yeah, we're a bit quicker because we're the second generation of it. But like our speed of what quicker was, the way we could solve computer problems back then is super slow to the way they move now. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been telling my friends this. Like, they're all amped about PlayStation 5 and like the new Call of Duty or whatever. They're like, yeah, I can't wait to get back on it. We're gonna play or whatever. And I'm like, it basically got to the not argument, but the conversation of how they can never be what they once were. They cannot. They physically cannot. Their brain does not play like a 17-year-old's brain. Like, they're still making these hard connections between their finger movements versus how they're thinking, that we are so set in like an old way of playing that like our brain cannot make those. Like, I'm like, physically you guys can't do it, and they're so against it. They're like, no, it's because like we have more responsibilities now, so like we're thinking of other things. I'm like, no, it's not that at all. It's you physically can't do it. You're old.
Yeah, that's so cocky, eh? To be like, no, that's not what it is. It's just that I have stuff to do. It's like, no, these kids were playing this shit from like 11 years old. They were playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So they just
their fingers
like,
are built for it.
Yeah, they've been steeping in this in the whole thing
because they're developing with it. You know, we didn't develop with it. We were like 16 when we really got into like hardcore gaming, right? Like
we grew up holding like square controllers,
and the games were so slow back then too that like you really weren't developing that crazy
like,
cognitive.
I'll put like Contra for the Super Nintendo up against anything else.
Right.
There's like, if you can beat Contra, or what's that remember that one we used to always get together, and with the spaceship, Galactica or something like that.
It's not Gattaca. That's a movie.
Okay. But it's just one of these things where you're just like shooting things out of spaceship, and there's meteors and giant monsters.
I know exactly what
you're
talking about. Yeah,
exactly. And there's like 50 levels, and regular humans can only make it to like 4.
Right.
So I don't know.
But I feel like okay, but hear me out. I feel like those games where you're right for advanced players though, right? Like people who would take on those challenges. Like most kids saw that and they're like, I'm not playing this. Like that was now. You go try playing Fortnite, the things you have to do in that game, just as like a base player, you're building things and trying to shoot an opponent at the same time is insane.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Okay, yeah.
The amount of menus you have just like trying to do that, I was like, this is crazy.
It's too much.
there's probably an
It's so much, like,
actual
their base
infinite
level-
amount of potential computations that you
Right,
need to
like
make.
yeah, and their base level of that I feel is like way like versus like Mario base level, like side scroller base level.
You know what? This is my actual belief. I was just trying to comfort myself. We're not obsolete.
No, like I think for a lot of people, definitely Contra was like a huge challenge.
Yeah.
Probably the top tier. Like if someone could beat that, you'd be like a lot of respect for that person for playing that.
Mm-hmm.
But Fortnite, anyone plays that, I'm like, y'all, the way your camera's moving and how you're trying to keep track of players while you're making this skyscraper, get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see this.
Going back
I
to
don't
the
even wanna
Twitch
see
thing,
it.
though, that Twitch is kind of a cool platform because, like, it obviously it's mostly based in like video game streaming and whatever. But like, people have started to. The coolest thing about like new like social medias that pop off is how different people get to like their spin on using it or whatever.
yeah.
Because like a lot, like even bands will use Twitch for like a live stream or like or. It's not just video games.
Yeah,
it's like you could live stream.
I've seen some producers,
Well, I was gonna
like a painting.
I was gonna say I want to do Twitch, but I want to do like drunk Bob Ross.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like quick segments.
Well, you already do that on Instagram.
I mean, I don't get
a few of those.
Yeah, I haven't done any drunk Bob Ross though.
But
Like,
with Twitch, you
specific
can
that,
plug
I
it
wanna
all
do that.
into the
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah.
and the setup can be like a legitimate studio.
Yeah.
Also, during the summer when all like the BLM stuff was popping off, like there was this one channel that would just it was like an aggregate for all the different like rallies and protests
dope.
and stuff that were going on all over the world.
Yeah.
So it was like it was like Portland and Seattle and also
Oh.
Tokyo and also London and also
Yeah.
but all just at once, and it was kind of like the classic 28 Days Later movie where it's like they stitch all the weird footage together. You're like watching it, you're like, dude, this shit's weird. Like all this stuff is happening in real time on the planet. Like yeah.
Yes, I think yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, I like went to Twitch.com for the first time. I just had I thought it was just video games.
It's wild, yeah.
But
There's like channels, man. They're channels.
It's live YouTube basically.
Yeah.
It's
pretty crazy.
And it feels like
People watch this all the time.
like the early days of YouTube when it was just like actual user content with metrics just favoring
Popular content.
popular content. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I definitely got to get on there. Got to make use of these platforms.
That would definitely be like a fun thing to do. Is like a drunken Bob Ross
Oh, hell yeah.
type thing. Or my another buddy of mine that I went to school with. He kind of runs like a sort of like a clothing label.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like based around raver culture and stuff like that, raves and EDM stuff. And they recently did like some other kind of like EDM small company. They got together and did like this live like DJ set on Twitch with like a green screen and a bunch of weird stupid visual stuff going on that was like kind of trippy and funny and stupid.
Nice.
Like Tim and Eric, but like the EDM version.
Yeah.
And that was really fun too, because I was just like at home like getting high and like watching this thing. I'm like, this is kind of cool. I don't think I could see myself at like one of these shows, but this is fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Marc Rebillet.
Yeah, true.
He's a streaming master.
Yeah.
You know who
No,
that
no
is?
idea. I don't know who a lot of people are.
He made a record called Loop Daddy.
Oh, nice.
And he's like a musician, hype man for himself, and a DJ, kind of at the same time. And he performs in like bathrobes and underwear, and he has a mustache and like big glasses.
Wow.
And
you might even have come across like a clip, or like you're not associating it right now, but like he's
I cannot wait for his collab with Snoop Dogg.
He's one of those guys that has like all the instruments are lined in, and then he's got like a loop station, and he'll like set the beat, and then that's the loop, and then he like stacks another thing, another thing, and
that's his talent.
And then he just
but
starts
it's
like
so
freestyle.
in the moment. He's just
God.
like, let's all get fucked up.
It's always like the dumbest lyrics,
and then he'll like kind of lose the beat, and then like because he does it, turns it into a different thing.
Beautiful.
And there's this, and he has been doing it for years. And there's footage of him doing it in like a wing shack, and he's live streaming it. Like 6 years ago, maybe as little as 4.
Yeah.
But in the teens, the tens,
the tens.
Yeah. So ancient history. He's live streaming this like Wing Shack show, and he's performing as if he's like talking to a crowd of like drunken college kids. But it's like a wing shack, and like 10, 15 people are there for him.
Right.
And they're digging
That's
it.
fantastic.
And then there's people just eating, and some people leave immediately, and some people are like, yo, okay.
That's great.
Like the lyrics are always like dumb, and he's making it up on the fly, but like he's clearly just like with sheer processing power on how he's doing the loop stacking, you're just like, dude, this guy's just a musical genius, but all of his songs are dumb. Like it's pretty awesome.
Here, we'll just cut this. For the listeners, we're going to listen to some Marc Rebillet for a second.
This guy's just doing it.
Your tits inside my heart.
Unbelievable.
He's just like in his apartment or some ground level hotel beside a highway.
Yeah.
So he's got like legit chops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no wonder this guy's killing the streaming. He's so talented. Look at him. Fantastic.
I'll send you the one where he wins over the Wing Shack.
That's a victory I want to see, yeah.
It's packed by the end.
I want to see that.
It's amazing. All right, where are we at?
A day, minute 30. Hour 30.
We've been here for a day.
Oh, a day minute.
1 day minute. 1 day minute and 30 day seconds.
All right. We'll
GTA,
make sure to get all the things.
How GTA like an hour goes by like a minute,
Yes.
and like the sun's constantly just moving.
Yeah.
All right, wrapping or you have any more questions?
No, I'm like, I've got one more doozy
Yeah.
that I cooked up, and then we'll just kind of like mosey through the closing ceremonies.
I don't mind walking.
And stuff.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So damn, I got that Marc Rebillet song stuck in my head. Eric, do you know how to pronounce that?
It's either the way you're saying it or like Rebillet. maybe. Rebillet?
You think it's French?
I don't know.
Anyway. Made a song about my favorite thing.
Rebillet.
Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to tell you the question that I thought I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
And then I smushed it with another thought.
Oh. Is it another question?
The question, I don't know if it's going to be a question. I'm just going to start talking and see along the way.
Yeah.
The question was, do you think Pax is your genius? And then I thought, we just had this conversation. He's imagining us. Or he's imagining you.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be possible. I don't see that as an impossibility. In a different reality, we are the creations of...
Or he's trying to open up a portal.
Right. Yeah, because like through this lens, it looks like I'm the one creating the drawings. But,
yeah.
But that's the illusion.
He's like, oh, I found a brain I can tap into.
Yeah.
And you're like, gotta draw Pax. People are like...
Yeah, because like...
Dude, what's Pax?
That idea...
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. What's Pax?
Oh,
sorry.
Is guy right there.
This little character here. I do a little character. I wish I had like a little...
Yeah, okay. I got him on the sticker there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those little heads here. I mean, you could create packs with like adding different elements of different characters that currently exist, like Mickey's face with like Felix's ears.
Yeah.
You know, Mickey's body, some old 1940 cartoon references. So again, like I think we're just like processors. We're just regurgitating information that already exists. Like he's nothing new. The ideas behind the character are my own, but the character already existed to an extent. So yeah, I think you could be. I think you're right. I think the idea. That's what I mean, though. This is a conversation we're having before. This is what I mean. Where like ideas themselves can have consciousness, can have this existence. Because if I didn't create that, those elements already existed. I think it'd be just a matter of time before someone else did, to a similar extent, or that the idea of what that character represents.
So exists. It's almost like the physical world itself is the tomato containing structure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And all of this meaning that we pull from it.
Yeah.
Is the plant itself. Or it's like the fence that the vine grows on.
These aren't, even people who had original ideas, I think it's just a matter of time before someone else has the exact same idea and does something with it. I don't think that like there's ever been ideas that have completely dissolved or no longer existed. I think someone else would just, in a different way, come to the same conclusion at some point.
They're like somehow percolating like bubbles under the surface of the material world.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything unique. That's the thing. Like, I'm happy people enjoy what I do, but I don't think there's anything necessarily unique about it. I think it's how you kind of pivot that makes it your own. But they're not new ideas or concepts, and that's why I use them, right? Like, the reason I do cartoons is because it's a very easy medium to kind of get lost in. Like, cartoons are very non-confrontational, right? We link cartoons to a childhood or adolescence, something that's very easy to look at. And then coupling that with more serious subject matters allows it to have a different context. But using the same tools that already existed to my benefit, because it's nostalgic when people look at it.
You talked about that a little in the last conversation. I did some work. I listened back to our talk before. We had some good laughs. Fake laugh. Hold for
I'm an emotional slug.
Where the fuck did my lighter go?
Do you want a lighter?
Yes, please. lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
You had some good laughs about the conversation.
Oh, conversation had before. We were talking
You did some
about.
research.
I didn't really do research. I
did
just
some
listened to
homework.
our last podcast. Well,
Talked about
I was at the laundromat. That's part of my ritual. I go to the
That's good.
laundromat
Good.
and I try to unplug. I like read or bring my guitar or something. Yeah.
it's nice. You were saying about
Or sometimes I'll stay mindfully plugged in. You know, sometimes you're mindlessly plugged in.
mindfully plugged in.
And other times you're just like you're making moves, you know, to keep your life good.
Right.
Using
Always
that.
on the edge.
Always on the edge. No, what the hell was I talking? I mean, we could let.
Yeah.
We're not
we
going to
have
listen back
the
to it.
technology.
We do have the technology. We refuse
Which
to
is
use
great though, because like, why not? Why not just be like, what the fuck was I talking about? It would solve this mystery in 2 seconds.
It's been too long.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's
now.
gone. Well, I'll just awkwardly edit this whole
fine.
space out. Or not.
I keep it in.
This segment is called "Where Did My Lighter Go?"
Yeah.
I went with your thought. They both held hands and dipped.
Can you draw that real shitty?
They go, whoop, doo,
Just
doo,
like-
doo, doo, doo. They're gone, man. They dipped on you. Well, where's the idea?
Have you ever drawn lighters as little guys that walk away? They just have. What
That's a
about
good one, 'cause
lighters that just
lighters-
have jacked legs? They have like runner legs and they wear the shorts and shit.
They always get away.
Yeah, and the little like.
I'm actually going to
racing
do a
numbers.
lighter that gets away. That's the inspiration from today. Because the lighters are always missing.
All I ask is a lighter of my own.
Lighter bandit.
It's like lighters and guitar picks. They both have jacked ass legs.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
design it. I'm gonna design it so that the design fits on a lighter. Like if it's just a face on
Like
the lighter, or something.
legs that you put
Yeah,
the
because
lighter
then
on.
I can make that into an actual product and
Yeah.
then sell those
Reusable lighter stands. Never lose.
products. See, they turn into product
Yeah, it'll be like a beer koozie.
Yes,
for your lighter. Yeah.
and call it something like light.
Lucy.
So yeah, something about losing lighters along those lines. You have a product right there.
It's like a little bit slanted too.
Billion
so it's
dollar
like a
product.
running
Yeah,
pose, like
see?
it's moving.
The more you talk about it, the more
would-
this
that would
idea
be
is coming into
stable.
our reality. And it looked cool. It looked cool as hell.
It's Lucy, the lighter koozie. So you don't lose
Because
your
you know
lighter.
what? Then you could also package it like a toy and then make them look like Hot Wheels and then have different designs.
Yeah. Oh,
And then collect.
damn. See, that's
That's a product.
a big idea.
Yeah,
You
that's-
make the same product infinite amount
Yeah.
of ways.
Yeah. That's it.
That's
I'm
winning
doing that.
capitalism.
I'm doing that. That's the next product.
Don't give me
It was
a
born
million
right now.
products. Give me one product a million different ways.
I wish
So-
there were just people who said things like that in meetings. They just stumped everyone there. And they're like, yes, sir, we're going to redesign this exact. But the guy's loaded. No one ever picks up on it. Like,
That's
it's like-
that's like the founder of the company who all the young people are just chomping at the bit to get
Yeah,
rid of,
exactly.
to
Yeah.
overthrow.
just
He's just like
an
yelling
hour meeting, an hour
buzzwords at
meeting.
people.
That's what-
We need to synergize people.
When's the last time you synergized, Mark?
You
Poor
make
Mark.
one move, you should be making two moves with one move. Synergize. Yesterday.
Yeah.
I think we talked about your website before we started rolling. So do you,
Website, yes.
I don't remember how much of that
I don't know.
we were talking about when we were already recording,
I
but
had
do
no
you
idea.
do you want to give people what they need to know?
No, just my website's just up.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah. it's
I'll put
just
the
up.
link in the bio.
No, I just launched my website on Friday. First time I have like actual merch, like site on a merch that like is nice.
Mm-hmm.
All my sites before have been like poorly built or like.
It's a nice gallery to just browse through.
Thank you.
And then
I just set it up by collections.
I like that
Super
you called
simple.
it like the 2020 dope drop.
Yeah.
So it's like now you can Like it's almost
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of a lot of those items.
You have like a blueprint now.
Yeah,
you have your lattice.
Exactly.
Wow.
Which is why I'm happy that like it took me a while to get this going. I'm not happy how down to the last minute there was such a big error with it. Like the night of I was working on the shipping stuff, like something minor, I wouldn't mind, 24 hours before launch, but like something like that, something to like keep in mind for next time. Have the site at least ready a week before, and then just run through it 1,000 times and see what works.
It's weird when you have this huge event coming up.
Then it
like comes and goes.
Yeah, I didn't care about it at all.
That's something you get used to, right?
Yeah, like
is this something that would have taken up a lot more mental space for you maybe a few years ago, or?
I don't know. Maybe I don't. But like my expectations a few years ago would have been the same. Where it would have been like, oh, I'm gonna get a few orders and it would have been great. Like that'd been awesome. That's kind of what my expectation would have been managed at, because there wasn't that much like pressure on it. It would have been a few people. But like throughout this whole launch, I've just been promoting it on my Instagram and I'm just putting it out there, but it doesn't feel like anything special to me. Right. I think the first time that I felt like this was a unique, or like people thought it was a bigger deal than I felt it was when my friend like made me a cake for it. She just like gave me a cake for it. And I'm like, that's so fucking sweet. That you like put effort and time to it. But I think that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, like people on the outside are like anticipating like a website launch. And then people were messaging me about it and just like they kept bringing it up. So I'm like, the promotion's working, which is good. Like I keep talking about it. It's on people's minds. So that's good. But I never felt like I was like super like excited for it or like expecting anything out of it. I was kind of muted to it. The only time I started really like having some sort of feeling about it was when the shipping wasn't working, because I'm like, oh, like there was a moment when I got real high and I'm like, oh, people are actually like I'm like going through the course of action. I'm like, if I can't figure out this issue by the time, I'm like, the next best move I can do is move the time up to later that day. Right. But then already, I'm already losing something because there are people anticipating at a certain time. And I know this because they messaged me about it. If these people weren't so vocal, I'd probably be like, oh, it's not a big deal if I move the time in the day. Like no one cares. But people were messaging me being like, few minutes, like I can't wait. And I'm like, oh, great. Like I'm awesome. That's great. But like had there not been a vocal anyone, then I'd been like, okay, next worst thing is I move the time. The next worst thing after that is I move the day. And now I'm losing people's interest. And before I wouldn't have cared at all. I'm watching a site. Like it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. But hearing everyone's feedback constantly through like the last few days of promoting was, I think, what started making a difference for me, because I'm like, oh, people are actually, they care. Like people are looking forward to something.
That is something that I don't know. I think if you're just a fan of something, right, and it's someone consistently makes stuff that like makes you smile or brightens your day or whatever, and then you're excited for the next thing.
Yeah, I think that's the disconnect for me, because I'm not saying I'm not a fan of things, but like I rarely get excited for like drops or like follow other people, their progress or whatever. Not because
you're experienced enough to know that you have to be in the right state of mind to fully appreciate something. And that might not be when the thing comes out. It might be a week from then.
Right. Exactly.
That's what it is for me.
Yeah. And I'm not one of those people that like would ever get excited like that for anything. Even my own drop, I was just like, oh yeah. Like I was chill about it the whole time until problems started coming up. And that's just a matter of like, having issues with something, right? Because like when it did launch, like after I took a nap from like 4:35 to like 7, got up and kept working on like last minute things. And even up until the launch, people started messaging me like, oh, my card's not working, or the postal code, whatever, little issues. So I had to be there, reading people's messages, going through it, the site again, making sure everything's like working. And that was my main concern, more than like, oh, is anyone gonna buy anything, or like how well our sales gonna do. That's definitely a way afterthought, because if I'm hyping something up and then it doesn't work, that experience for me is, I think, what I cared more about than like, you know, like how many people are going to flow through the site or whatever. That's when it got like when I started to care. Before then, it was just like, I don't know. I wasn't like, I was excited for it, but I wasn't like I don't know. It's a site, but something I needed now, because now I have an outlet for like selling things, which like during this pandemic has been crazy, because I should have been able to offer more solutions to support through local events, right? Through like art shows and shit like that. But yeah, it's been crazy. So now I have an online place. It only took a pandemic for me to get a website. Be like, now's a good time to move online.
Have you guys heard of this thing called the internet?
Had 20 years since the dawn of everyone having the internet at home.
I got this jazzy new app called Explorer. Oh, we're going places.
Oh, I believe there's a new machine called the PlayStation. I think I might pick one up.
Get this, video games in 3 dimensions. What do you mean? Like up? Like out of the what do you mean?
I can't even explain it. Yeah,
right.
so
get your lighter legs at dopechief.com.
We
Thanks for tuning in to the Michael AM radio show. Like us,
subscribe us to us.
Yes, 5-star reviews. Do it. You friend.
Oh, you should have gone with an insult.
Sorry. So did you go over like your Instagram handle and stuff like that?
No, I like to remain anonymous.
Okay, cool. Fair enough.
I'm a low key.
Don't look for the dope chief.
Look, you.
Like we're gonna shout him out, and it does anything for us.
No, it's fine. I like to keep my handles on low key.
Fair enough. Respectable.
Dopechief.com. Get your sweaters.
No, yeah, that I should shut out after all that talk of the website and then not putting it out anywhere.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me. This is fantastic. The setup's so nice. It's so crisp.
Thank you so much.
This is really nice. What do you used to edit? What do you used to capture? What is that?